If you were the manager of Rangers tomorrow,
I would sell 5 on the day and I wouldn't replace anybody. You've got one up against and one ready to cover. It's more solid than being too deep.
would you sign Masvenetian? Alfredo for me.
I loved playing against him. He had the tool belt on and he built it. My favourite position, exclusive here right now, doggy style. I had Engels or Mulligan to choose for my team. Mulligan would be in my
So
team.
it's not going to be Hearts fans this week that are giving you stick, it's going to be Rangers fans.
Right, here we go, mate. Title race. Welcome back to the breakdown, by the way. Thanks for the views last week. Keep the subscriptions coming.
Good day, Easter Rod.
And it was a good game, mate. Really good for a 0-0. It was really good to watch. I was really interested to watch Rangers and see how they are keeping clean sheets. And I think I actually said that. I don't know how Rangers are keeping clean sheets.
Are you not having a reserving though?
I don't. I
Don't know how.
mate, they're lucky. Like Butland makes a great save. It's a big miss for Boyle. Johan has got a header. Ellie Ewan, he's got a header. Point blank. There are other couple of chances that are real good chances. And Rangers, I don't know how they rode their luck and then they never had anything. And then obviously Mikey Moore scores and you're thinking that's typical. But it was offside. But they offered nothing. The front line for me, Asgard, Olsen. I know it's Olsen's second game, right? So you don't want to be too harsh on him. But again, he's had a game. Then you think, right, he played against Dundee last week. Let's see what you've got now. You've had another week with the boys. Didn't lack desire for me. Asgard, don't know what Asgard is bringing. Gassama, nothing. Chermiti, nothing. I don't think they did anything in the front line. They never created a chance. I don't know what they're doing for the, but they managed. I think it's typical Danny Rowe. And now away to Hibs. When you're thinking, how have they done this? How have they done? And he's definitely under the last management. They would have get beat 100%. But they've managed to get themselves a point, and they did look tired. They did look like they were out on their feet. Then they game of basketball, mate. The second half was just back and forth. Did you see it?
Doesn't suit them, does it? Basketball.
No. I think it just plays into Hibs' hands. Hibs, a couple of new signings for Hibs looked alright.
Yeah, done well, didn't they?
Like Kai in midfield. Come on. But
youthful, weren't they? Hibs, I thought the new boys brought them a wee bit of energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think when you see the camera go to John Suter a couple of times, and I presume he's screaming because he either is disappointed in the outcome of the last part that then makes Rangers have to run 50-60 yards back to their goal. I think he one that he's cleared in the front area. I think another one that he's cleared in the middle of the 6-yard box, and obviously when the camera pans on him, he's kind of screaming and shouting, probably no wanting that, and asking for a bit more composure, a bit more control. But the biggest thing for me, which I touched on a wee bit last week, and I know Mikey Moore, it's the perfect scenario to use, the one that he does dart in behind and John Suter curls it in behind. Thought Hibs, as you mentioned before we even started, that this held quite a high line, so probably no too worried about Rangers' speed in behind. And I know that is a role that Mikey Moore, I think Gassama is more than capable of making the runs, but always wants to come to feet, don't he? I think Asgard always wants to come to feet.
What is Asgard's attributes?
Listen, I think I've been really complimentary and a big advocate that I do think he is. I think there is a good player in there, but you cannot keep on saying it without him coming up trumps. The biggest thing for me, the front boys, is know that many of them are willing to run without the ball.
Yeah.
And I know that makes sense to you, i.e. like a lot of them want the ball. A lot of them want to drop in and get a touch of the ball and then give and go or try and make something happen with the ball. I'm a huge advocate that the chance comes as simple as it was that Mikey Moore's running without the ball.
Yeah.
And I think the makeup of the front boys, I felt like Nico Raskin was probably Rangers' biggest threat and biggest driver in the second half to try and make things happen, running in the box, giving goals, passing, running forward, dropping. Without having probably his brilliant best game, he's the one that looks like carrying the team on his shoulders, like trying to make things happen. And I think that the boys in front of him, it's more their role. When you think of Skov Olsen, when you think of Chermiti, Asgars, Gassama's, even like, has it been a lapse of concentration allowing Finn Curtis to go on loan to Kilmarnock. And I'm not saying Finn Curtis is going to win Rangers a league or be the difference, but I watched him live against Dundee last week and he made their runs. You know, no one that always wants the ball to feet, which is a bit unusual for academy players. Academy players nowadays always want to come to feet and everybody's willing to run without the ball. And I think it's an attribute that Rangers should have or should try and implement more into their front line, because I think it makes opposition teams, it makes it easier for them to defend against the front boys.
Asgard for me, like 6'2", 6'3", got the frame, looks like he should be a good player, thick set legs, but for me just like the swaggers out for corners and swaggers about the pitch, and there's no any desire to, you know, keep possession and make something happen. He could have had a shot yesterday at one point, and he has a step over, and you're thinking, just have a shot, just do something, you know. Like I've yet to see. I think he drops it in the wrong areas. I think he goes deep to get it, he goes wide to get it. It doesn't really, it doesn't affect the game for me, Asgard. I think Rangers in this window need. People will easily say a striker, right? Because they obviously they need to score goals, but I think they need a creative player in that 10 position. I think they need somebody, because you're looking at Chermiti yesterday, and I don't think he's done great in the game, but he's not any service or chances. He's not any great chances, and you could argue can he run in behind and make more movements, but I don't. How Rangers have been picking up wins is credit to Danny Rowe. He's found a system. They were like in possession. They put Kasama inside and put Magoma right out wide, and so they create a 4 in midfield, a kind of box. And then out of possession, they kind of went in a 4-4-2 and kind of a block. So you can see, right, they've got a structure which Danny Rowe's got in place, and he puts that there. But still, Hibs go and create three like real good chances.
They were good Hibs, weren't they?
Hibs were good. They needed a performance. Obviously, bad result against Falkirk. You expected a reaction, but
when I seen the teams, I'm a big fan of Joe Neal. But when I thought the Rangers were going, and even like a game of basketball, a bit more open, I thought, I know he's a lovely football player, Joe, and he's got a lovely left peg. But I just thought, obviously being out for a period of time, I watched him at Dunfermline. I thought he might have struggled with the boys in there, but. Probably brings a calmness, leadership qualities. He's well respected, and I suppose Dave probably turned to that bit of experience when the pressure starts to come a wee bit. But as you mentioned, I thought Hibs, especially on the break in the second half, I thought the young lads that come on, Eldon, I thought, albeit a couple of times he maybe over elaborated on the ball and kept on going and run out of steam a wee bit, but the energy that they brought, Scarlett, another. I think the three of them really, I think will be good signings for Hibs.
I think what's not helped Hibs is the fact that Hearts have obviously done so well.
Aye, probably. But
I think that's went against them a bit, because naturally you look at your rivals and think, right, where are they compared to us? They were the third best team in the country by a mile last year after having a bad start. I think obviously Motherwell are doing really good. Hearts are doing well, and I think maybe they're not good enough to get ahead of Celtic or Rangers, but with the two teams doing so well, especially their rivals Hearts, I think it's kind of reflected bad on them a wee bit.
I think the cups were sore, mate. I think with the investment into the squad is, and I'm just going off what my mates say really, because they go and watch them every week, and even my boys obviously being at Hibs. But I think that the cups are probably brought a wee bit more scrutiny on Dave and the team, just because he obviously beat at Ibrox, obviously in the Premier Sports Cup, and then beat obviously by Dunfermline.
That was a bad one for them,
aye. So I think maybe a wee bit scrutiny and a wee bit more stick has come, because listen, they're still in a good position in the league, albeit Motherwell are you could argue favourites to grab that fourth spot as such, but a lot of football will be played. But I think powers to be at Easter Road when you think I'm having that real difficult moment in his kind of young career, Dave, albeit plenty of experience with being kind of first team coach under loads of different managers. Obviously Jack Ross probably one that he learned a lot off as such, but I think powers to be will be reflecting on the bad start, then the brilliant run, and a steady Eddie season, I would probably best describe it. But
I think Nicky Cadden has been a huge. I think since a good run, Nicky Cadden in the left wing back position has been a massive part of what they do. Chris Cadden in the right wing back, they've never really played consistently together. You look at the Hearts game, Nicky Cadden sets up the first goal for a ball for the left, then he has to go off injured. McGrath goes to the left hand side and then he creates for the wing back position. Magoma put a great ball in yesterday, but I think that's what his successes came from, and that's maybe what they've got away from a wee bit, just because injuries and that as well.
Aye, and then no sticking up for Dave as such, but they've just sold a striker for £6 million, and probably Josh Milligan. If you were picking a player of the season, you would probably be tossing a coin between Jamie McGrath and Josh Milligan. So
what's going on, mate, with all these bids coming in for Scottish players? Like £7 million for Bowie.
I think we should try and get fit again, mate.
Jesus, man.
I think we should do a breakdown fitness pre-season and see if we.
I just think it's £7 million. Hibs have got to take that, haven't they?
It's a brilliant bit of business. I know the only time will tell. I suppose we've all got an opinion on it. Only time will tell if it's a good investment. But I certainly think the Italian market, when you think of the boys that have went over, especially Scottish boys, your Lewis Fergusons, etc., that have obviously done really well.
That's what's helped them, innit?
Aye. Because I think I'm right in saying, I don't know if it was the tail end of the summer there under Russell Martin. I think it might have been. I'm sure Conor Barron was linked with an Italian team as well. Didn't quote me on what team, but there must be Italian people, obviously Italian teams, recruitment that look at the Scottish League and see value for money. And you could argue all the boys that have done, I think Josh Doig and people like that have went over and done really well. So it's maybe not just always been the big hitters that have kind of grown a reputation. Obviously people would naturally go to Billy Gilmore and people like that, do you know what I mean? But it's been a haven for
I can't remember who I spoke to, but they said to me it's like the Italian players are quite laid back and quite
opposite for Scots.
Opposite for Scots. So like Lewis Ferguson, that I've heard that when they step into training or they give that intensity, it's quite
refreshing.
They end up being captains and that, don't they? It's like probably why but for £7 million, Hibs have got to take that. I don't think. I mean, you think about the start of the season, alright start, gets in the Scotland squad, then after that kind of falls away. I just think that it's a lot of money for that type, for what he's done.
You're buying talent, aren't you? Or you're buying potential, I suppose, which is to buy number 9s now that are playing first team football and getting close to national squads, etc., etc., etc. So I suppose it's just a premium. Like we've maybe been a wee bit critical of Shermiti and Gassama, but like rumoured to be £13 million for
That's
Shermiti.
not true. That can't be true.
$10 million for Gassama potentially.
I'm not believing any of that.
I just seen this morning $17.9 million for Engels.
What's going on, man? You've got to take that.
I'd have him in the taxi driving him.
Let's start with Chermiti, right? There's no way there's been a bid for Chermiti. I'm not believing it. I don't know why he's getting put out there in the media, because I think Rangers are going to bite your hand. What's he done?
I know.
He's had 2 good goals against Celtic and that's been it.
I know, but I think taking even minus what you think he's done and what he scored, his goals ratio, etc., 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 what he's cost, his age, his profile, I think the deeper part that we probably didn't get alluded to is Rangers are trying to win a title. So how bad does it look if you go and cash in on a striker, you're number 9, Miofsky's not quite hit the heights, unless you've got someone waiting in the wings to replace him that you think's better, that's going to help you win the title. I think you just have to hold fire.
But surely as a scouting department, a recruitment department, you're always looking for options. You're always getting offered players. So surely there's somebody that's sitting there. So like in the last minute, if Chermiti goes, which I don't think he will. I don't think that's even true. That bid. I might be wrong, but that's my opinion. Surely you've got somebody sitting going, well, if we can sell him for 13 million, we've got somebody here sitting for 6 or 5
in a perfect world,
and a lot less wages, you know what I mean?
But obviously you know better than anyone that's not always the case, is it? You know what I mean? And they might be saying like, we've got X waiting here, but we can't get him in the summer. So I'm not so sure if they type of bids are coming in for Gassama and Shermiti, this is the right time for Rangers to be selling players to then gamble on somebody else new coming in to try and hit the ground running. It's such a critical time. Champions League, massive money. Coefficients is obviously huge in Rangers' favour. So opportunity to win the league, to get into the Champions League, it's like, what, 40-50 million it's worth.
But I'd agree with you if it was like Desters or something. You say, right, he brings the goals and he does something, and maybe we can get somebody better. So we maybe can, but it's not worth the gamble. With Chermiti, for me, I'm thinking what's he on? I've heard he's on like 40, 50 grand a week.
I know, but
you get him off the wage bill.
So here's a flip for you. If you were the manager of Rangers tomorrow, and I've got a strong opinion on this, would you sell your number 9 when you're in a title race? Whether you think he's scored.
If I was the Rangers manager tomorrow, I would sell 5 on the day, and I wouldn't replace Andy.
Try and sabotage them.
I'd get the 18s up. The young boys are on young Scottish boys. No, if I was,
because you've been in that position, haven't you? And I think it's hard. I think if powers to be, they're saying to Danny Rowe, like, listen, we cannot knock this back. He has to go. And then, as you mentioned, like plan A, plan B, plan C in the recruitment department. I've got no doubt they've got targets, but I think naively, for Rangers' perspective, whether we scrutinise his goal return, I just think it would be naive in this moment in time, in the January transfer window. The loan market's still available.
Right, okay, so here's one, right? Do you think sitting here right now, you get a 13 million bid for Chermiti, right? Do you believe that you could sell him and replace him with a better player?
Well, if I was the Rangers manager, I would be more inclined to looking more for what.
I've not looked at one player this window, and as in scouting departments and looked in depth in players, and I reckon I could bring somebody in.
That's what. So neither have I, obviously, because we're no managers. So you're no looking at number 9s that
you need Y scout for an hour, and I'm producing somebody better than.
I know, but you know better than anyone. Even in the lower leagues in Scotland, when you're trying to sign part-time players, it's like you can't just click your fingers and get somebody. You know what I mean? You have to negotiate with the opposite club. You have to the player needs to agree. What if Chermiti doesn't want to leave?
That's the other thing.
Do you know what I mean? So it's all right saying, all right, what if Rangers have said, oh, listen, we want a bit extra money? We're just speculating and we're flying
I don't think there's been a bid.
Well, if there's
I'm
no,
standing by that. And
listen, maybe the powers to be have got the power within the media to manipulate stuff to put stuff out there to try and attract different interests for somebody else.
I think that's definitely some agents.
Obviously, Sky Sports have released. I seen the Sky Sports one this morning on Engels. Obviously, €20 million. I think it's like 17.6 or 17.9 million.
I would take that. Take that for Engels. 100%.
Like, all due respect to him, apart from penalties, like he's not had a flourishing Celtic career to date, has he?
Nah. His set piece delivery is.
Listen, I think
class.
I think he's a right good player. I think I'm just not so sure the hustle and bustle in the institution of Celtic and what it means to play for Celtic suits him as an individual. I think he could go to like abroad and play in Europe and become a real top player. I just think domestically, the way our football is, I didn't think it overly suits him. Going to these hustle and bustle places, going to Tynecastle and having to fight for it. We've seen him get a couple, do you know what I mean? Like, I think he's there to be shot at, really, like physically. I know he's a big strapping lad, but I'm not so sure he likes people nipping at his heels. I think he's like, you go and put a possession drill on or a technical drill, I'm pretty sure the Celtic players would be saying he's one of the best players.
Aye, I've
got no doubt. But but that type of money, what did they buy him for? 10, 11 million pounds?
11 million.
Like,
surely you can sell him and get another midfielder in.
Do you think this Ballers League that you're going to play in London is going to get you fit? I think you.
By the way, the guys went quiet on me. I think.
That's it. You found somebody else.
He messaged me. Just to be clear, right? This is a couple of times he's done this.
You've not been binned off
I've been asked to play in the Ballers League, right? But the guy who
is there an age restriction on it?
No. But the guy who messaged me, last message was, why did the manager take you off in the game in Munich in the fives? And I wrote back saying, it was a rotation system. And
so is he actually scouting? So he's judging you on that?
Well, he's watched it. I sent him the link. It's the worst thing I've ever done. I've done myself out of getting in the Ballers League. I'm going to measure him today.
Oh, brilliant, man. I thought this podcast was meant to build our profiles, no knock it down.
Oh, surely, man. Have you seen some of the players playing in that Ballers League? They're fit.
No.
I done a wee 5k a day, 24 minutes. That's not good enough. I need to get better.
That's a good pod, that.
You think so? I done 22 last week.
You were a good runner, though, weren't you?
I can run at the one pace for a long time.
But you were a good runner when you played, weren't you? Like pre-season, you'd be one of the front boys, wouldn't you, Scotty?
I've been in top 5 or 6, aye.
Yeah, big long legs.
Aye, just plodding. Seen Rooney done one the other day in 1940 or something, 1945 in a 5k.
Oh, he's doing his charity thing for with his brother Stuart, isn't he? I see it popping up all the time. He's quite a wee bit behind him as well.
I know, seen
I think
that.
he's like, maybe 50, 60 miles behind. Sounds loads that, doesn't it? I'd need to drive that.
So, back to Celtic, right? Are we back?
Big win for them.
No, I might talk about Olsen, actually. Scove Olsen for Rangers. What are your thoughts?
Well,
What's your thoughts on the new signings?
Well, I was a wee bit disappointed that somebody sent me something online that I was critical of him on his debut at Dundee, which I thought I was really complimentary on both the new boys, Chukwueze and Scove Olsen. I probably was on air saying that I wasn't sure what he was. Obviously, I've not seen loads of him. I've not seen loads of him playing, but to me, he looks like a lovely football player that's got a lovely left peg. Looks like he wants to give and go. He doesn't look like somebody that's capable of carrying the ball. He doesn't look like a ball carrier. So I thought the type of player he looked against Dundee, I thought he would be fruitful for Rangers in the final third. People obviously naturally then go and think he like a Czerny. But Czerny was a dribbler. He was a ball carrier. And his numbers were brilliant. So the harsh reality is for these boys that come, people start comparing you to what was there before. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But listen, he's got a great pedigree. He's already having a good career. I do think he'll be a good player, but I worry that that speed and that power to get away from people against packed defences is going to be a wee challenge for him, and he's going to need to work out like what he is. Is he going to come in the pitch? Is he going to hit shots? Is he going to come in the pitch? And I see obviously his short corner that Chukwueze ended up scoring that was called off again, chopped off for offside, just slightly straight offside at the back post against Dundee. I can see he's got that in his locker.
Yeah.
But obviously then watch him at Easter Road, it doesn't stand out maybe as much as what Rangers fans are, or probably even what he hoped. But listen, it's early. He's just started. It's terrible that we're even scrutinising him really. But listen, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing it.
That's why when you play at Rangers, that's what you
come under, aye.
That's it. He needs to have shown more desire for me to affect the game.
I do think
you could say we starved the possession, or he didn't get given the ball, but he's got to be demanding that ball. He stood out in the touchline, and you've got to say, get me the ball and I'll go and make something happen. That's his job. I didn't see it. What do you get Chukwueze?
I think Chukwueze, obviously, the big strapping lad, isn't he? A big powerhouse. And technically, I think he can be a wee bit scruffy at times. But I think he'll be one that'll against Dundee, more predominantly because I watched him live, obviously. It looks like he could be a good foil to be a box-to-box 8, where he can track back, he can win the ball back. He'll be good in both boxes because obviously he's a big, strong lad. And I think he'll be one that could easily be that 8 that arrives in the box and goes and potentially, I'm not saying runs past the 10 and Asgard or runs past Miovski or Schmidt, but I think he's got the capabilities and the power to go and hit the box. I don't know what his end product would then look like. Mm-hmm. He had his shot against Dundee that he gets out his feet well. Can he push wide and hits it with his left foot back across? The goalkeeper was saved with his feet. But I actually thought the bits that I seen in the first half, I obviously had to watch bits of it back because I only got in to watch the second half. I thought he actually was probably one of Rangers' most industrial players in the first half.
I was decent.
So I do think there will be a good player in there. The harsh reality is when you know better than anyone, when you play for Rangers and Celtic, people want to see you at the top now. They want to see you dominate games. You're a striker, they want to see you score goals. You're a wide player in Scove Olsen, they want to see you assist. They want to see you create stuff. They want to see a spark. And I suppose when I think like a Rangers,
I don't know if I want to see it, but I just expect to see it.
and it's probably harsh, Charlie. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think back to like Ryan Kent, Alfredo's. When I think of Alfredo's power and his tenacity, and he's just been horrible really to play against. Like for defenders, like how strong and physical he was. And how good they were at that counter press that we talk about when the ball turns over, or just being set to then go and win the ball back off opposition. I worry that the Rangers front four, especially the 4 in question that played yesterday, I'm not so sure how good they are without the ball, and I don't know how many opposition teams fear Rangers counter press because I'm not so sure they're that good at it.
That's why it turned into a game of basketball, because they don't. As soon as they don't lose it, they don't
Didn't
press
get
and
good
get
pressure
after
on
it.
the ball, do they?
Olsen, looking at Olsen and wee bits I've heard, I think he's going to offer nothing off the ball. He's going to need to produce on the ball. I don't think he's a runner. He's going to defend. If you look at Maeda, that type of player, he's never going to kind of be that. But that's fine because you can have players and carry players like that if they're doing it the other way. If you're going in producing assists and goals in it, but Rangers are going to need to step up in the final third. They can't have too many more. Same as Celtic, they can't have too many more slip ups because Hearts on.
I know, and it's mad as well because you think your Rangers winning, 8 in a bounce before. Obviously they go over to Porto through the week and get beat, and then obviously in hindsight we could be sitting here in 22, 23 games played, like the next 15, 16 games, the climax of the season, and it could be a good point away at Easter Road, but our mentality is you need to go to these places and win.
You need to follow up with a win anyway, don't you?
And then the hard part is you've got 3 teams. Sometimes like you go to Easter Road, you get a point, Celtic win it at Celtic Park, but Hearts are in the equation, which is unusual, when Hearts then go and win. And I thought, just as a neutral, really, that's a difficult place to go. Jim Goodwin always seems to be better in the second half than the first half. Dundee United, big, strong, powerful team. They seem
I thought they would have got something. I thought Dundee United would have got a result there.
So I wouldn't have bet against them, put it that way. But then Hearts go and do what they do, albeit, listen, they were in front before the stupidity, the kind of Dundee United. Listen, I thought the first sending off was really harsh, to be honest. I don't know what the lad's doing. And the kind of headbutt bit, just stupidity really, let his team doing it. But I thought
first one, what do you think of the first one?
I thought the first one was harsh, mate.
It's no a lot of force, is there? There's studs up and it's on his ankle, but there's no loads of force. That's what I wonder.
I thought it was harsh.
But then in the rules of the game these days, is that
I know, but like excessive force, like endangering an opponent, like I'm like, come on, man, like I do think the reactions probably made it look that wee bit worse. I've seen the slow-mos, I've seen all the angles that people put up on social media. I just thought it was.
Do you think the reaction for the Hearts player, the way he's rolling about and as if
listen, I'm not saying that he's not caught him. He might have stud marks on his ankle or whatever, but I just think he's took his touch, he's stretched a wee bit. I go back to like the Beningame one, who I don't think Beningame is a dangerous player or a nasty player really. I think he's a good player, but his one at Tynecastle just a few weeks back, I think he does go over the top of the ball. Mm-hmm. It's uncharacteristic of him. I think he catches him high, but the one at Tannadice I thought was listen, Hearts I think still would have went on and won the game. And Dundee United's ill discipline, albeit that one I'm sticking up for them really. I thought it was a wee bit harsh. The moment of madness for the second one's just stupidity really. I only just seen the penalty opportunity for Dundee United early on just this morning on my phone, when the boy hits the byline, and it's like a blatant dive, if you know what I mean. But you know better than anyone, and I think Dell will be the same to say this, when you're 11v11 and it's only 2-0,
yeah,
well obviously you want to be 2-0 up, but everybody knows when you've played, when you can be in total control and then a team scores, and especially like away from home, and it becomes a bit squeaky bum time.
Yep.
Puts a bit of pressure on you. Subs come on and make a wee bit of an impact. People get their tails up. That touch, that pass, clearing your lines. Just there's a wee bit more animosity within the team. So, listen, unbelievable result for Hearts, professional performance. But I thought the first one was a wee bit harsh, and that's maybe just because I was a tackler. I'm thinking I didn't think there was any real malice in it.
A booking could have been enough, couldn't it?
I thought so, mate.
What do you think of Hearts? What do they need? If they're signing somebody today,
well,
would you position it going for?
Kabori's been terrific, obviously, since, and what better could you ask for when your kind of talisman, your main man, gets obviously an injury? I've seen him obviously on the telly. I know he'd rather be obviously on the pitch, but for him to come in and make the impact that he's made, and he's different, isn't he? So I think that's a real good foil for Derek McInnes in the respect that he is different. He's obviously a bit more mobile than Shanks.
They've not
obviously.
missed Shankland or Devlin so far,
that's
have
what I'm saying, mate. They've fair play to them. I have to say, the adaptability within the squad, really quiet when it comes to the recruitment. Know the big numbers, know the big fuss. I think Jamestown, Tony Bloom, he obviously made that wee statement at the start that every media outlet in the country and every fan was talking about, that he was deluded that they were going to win the league, but he's been cute, he's been clever, and the harsh reality is, like, factual, whatever Tony Bloom touches, he's turned into success, and so far for the Jambos, I'm not saying that I'm here as an Hibs Rangers player that I want to see Hearts win the league, but I think I would maybe pay a bit of money to see you and Gorgie having a pint while Hearts celebrate.
Oh, no, it's getting closer, isn't it? But
because every week we go by, mate,
that's what I mean.
I've said for weeks they're not going anywhere, and fair play to them.
I know. I think we can almost guarantee it's going to be a tight run-in, innit? Either way, it's going to be tight.
Brilliant for us. Brilliant for everybody. Listen, if you're involved in it, but it's aye. Who's winning it? Well, Hearts have obviously got to be strong favourites now, haven't they? Which is mad, just off the results. I think.
I think it's going to come down to the games
against each other.
Now. After the split, can you imagine how big the games are going to be?
Imagine genuinely like Rangers playing Hearts at Tynecastle and then Celtic playing Motherwell.
Mad.
And maybe only 3 or 4 points between three of them.
It could be the best run in for years, couldn't it?
Well, it'll never be. Well, hopefully be seen again. But we've not seen this. And
so, do you think if Hearts, just say Hearts won it, right, and they qualify for the Champions League? Just saying, I know this.
They need to go through the preliminary rounds, wouldn't they?
Just say they done. They got the Champions League money. If we're talking about Hearts now being like, all of a sudden now consistently, with Tony Bloom and Dale as a manager and consistently challenging.
Well, I don't know how far they would go regarding putting more money on the budget. You got to expect like Derek McInnes would be, listen, he would have the keys to Tynecastle, wouldn't he? Forever.
Yeah.
There'd be no doubt that the accolades that he'd get off the back of it, it would attract interest for other clubs, which obviously the Jambos wouldn't want to.
I think he wants a Scotland job, doesn't he?
I know. I hear a few rumours that he's got his eye on that, but I think that might be further down the line for him. To be honest, I think if he gets the success that he wants this year, I think the day-to-day buzz. He's young enough. He's still got that enthusiasm, that desire. You hear him speaking. He's there. He's there to get shot at now as well, which is I think as a manager, when you're sitting at the top end of the league and people want to beat you, I think you've got that wee bit of fire in your belly, and it's a nice feeling. It's like being an Old Firm player, isn't it? Everybody wants to see you fail. So Derek and his team have got that kudos this year. And listen, it's a brilliant club, Hearts. They've got a brilliant facility out at the Oriam. The stadium's obviously just been upgraded in recent times. The Wheatfield stands. I've been in it to do the BBC the games. It's brilliant. I love playing there, even in the old stadium. I'm never lucky enough to play in the new one. So you've got to think if they could sell some of their assets. Is Braga going to go? Is Kidarizis going to go? Like who's going to potentially get sold as well? Or will they reinvest that into the squad? Or will they then be able to offer these boys maybe a wee bit extra money on top of the wage bill? I'm really intrigued to see, will Hearts ever be able to pay the money that Celtic and Rangers have got? I wouldn't expect that to happen. But it just shows you under the parameters that they're working under, which will be a fraction of the old firm budgets, what job he's doing.
That is, isn't it? Like, what is it that analytics is? Like, I'd love to see it. It's crazy, isn't it?
I think everybody's got. I'm also Geordie's my best mate, and he's at Dunfermline, and the guy behind the scenes, Cockney lad, is they've got their own data as well. So I think everybody's got their wee bit and what ticks their boxes, and I've got no doubt there'll be different methods to the madness, really. But when you think of his involvement at Brighton, like the success he's had there, like do you know what I mean? Like the kind of even the timing for when they sell is, I would say, has been the meticulous part for Brighton. I only got a wee insight off of Big Lee McCulloch when he was telling me, because obviously he worked there with Davy Weir, that they have, and didn't quote me exactly like the way it works, but they would have the player that's playing. They'd have the player on the bench as a replacement, like a Billy Gilmore maybe being like the heir to the throne, and then they would have like plan C to then replace they two as well. So then they then sell at the best moment. Billy then starts playing, they sell at the best moment, and so on and so on. And I know that's easier said than done, because people that sounds pretty easy, but it's actually having the right player in place that when these players do get sold for the right terms, the team's no weakening.
Yeah,
it's staying at least the same, if not getting better. And that player B might go on and become a 50-60 million pound player instead of a 30-40 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's just like flying a kite on the outcome as such. But it's listen, what Hearts have done this year, mate, has been incredible. The moments that they've had when they look back,
it's going to be so sad though when Celtic pit them for the league, innit? Like, it's going to be a good.
Do you think Celtic are in a better position to win the league than Rangers now?
They're going to get a wee pat in the back.
Which is mad how it shows, because I thought last week when Celtic didn't beat Hearts, I thought Celtic were under a bit of pressure. Whereas they then go and win, Rangers drop points, Hearts still win.
Listen, it's so hard to call. It's every week you're getting a better view on teams and situations. And I mean, look at Celtic yesterday going 1-2-0 against Falkirk at home. Not an amazing performance, but a professional performance. Going score 2, maybe could have scored a couple others. Falkirk had 1 or 2 chances, and that was with Trusty out.
New striker comes in.
New boy comes in, scores a good header. Cross for Kieran Tierney header. Martindale would have loved that goal. 6'3" striker just nodding in the bottom corner. Big man looks alright. Looks decent. Looks like he's a powerful runner.
Do you think Celtic can consistently win away from home the way Martin O'Neill plays after watching him at Tynecastle just last week? It's different at home, isn't it?
It is. Well,
because you said it was probably Tynecastle's one of the first. You were a wee bit critical on the ball being a bit direct and not trusting the way they play. They can't keep
doing that. They don't have the players for that, and they don't have time to bring in the players for that.
But do you think they will do that?
No, I don't think. Well, I don't know. For me, they can't. They surely. I'd imagine, without speaking to anybody.
Do you think that was just a one-off because it was Tynecastle, the type of game, they played the occasion?
Yeah, I think a few players have get caught up in the moment and just started volleying it long.
Because it's easy to dominate the ball at Celtic Park, innit? But to be fair, Falkirk had a good lion's share, to be fair.
Yeah.
Even though he's done a brilliant job. But me, the biggest thing is that the chances both Old Firm teams turn up to opposition. Even though it's not punished them massively, but it's like you wonder how much, like I know you advocate on Rangers, like the chances they turn up, the clean sheets they've had, like the brilliant saves for Jack Butland. It's like, even at Celtic Park, like Falkirk still looked like
Schmeichel made a real good save for a header.
Still looked a threat, didn't they?
Yeah. I've never seen a season where Celtic and Rangers have so little possession in games. Like the amount of times you look at it and go, that was 50-50 or 55-45. It's usually it's like 65, 70 in consistent basis, but it's constantly like even against Falkirk yesterday.
I think they have the same control. I don't know why, I can't pinpoint it, but I can only go back to like what watching live Rangers teams look like when they've really got teams by the throat, really, and they almost suffocate them, and they didn't allow them to get out, and it's just wave after wave after wave. Whereas I don't think either of the two teams are like that, and it's not really the way Hearts play. I think Hearts kind of like almost bully into submission a wee bit, and they're brilliant at real energy, defend well, good in both boxes, brilliant at set plays. Whereas like a traditional Rangers and Celtic team normally have teams penned in. I
remember any time going to Ibrox or Celtic Park as an opposition player, you were like, right, we're not going to have a lot of possession here at all. I remember actually having possession at Ibrox one time for like a couple of minutes in Rangers half and thinking, what's going on here?
This is no normal.
Like, we're doing all right here. With Dundee United, like, it's not a normal thing, and I think this year you're seeing a lot of that. Like yesterday, Rangers v Hibs, I said before the game, I expect Hibs probably have less possession, but a lot less possession did, but it was a game of basketball. I just don't. It's a weird season. It's a mad season.
Brilliant,
mad season. Nygren scores again. He's mental, the amount of goals he scores.
He's an enigma for you, though.
He is.
In what way?
I just think he's slacking possession. He doesn't offer a lot off the ball. He's kind of like, and then he goes and scores goals, which is probably the hardest thing in the game to do. So fair play to him, and that's why I think
he's not overly quick, is he?
He's not quick. He's not creating loads of chances. He's no dead skillful. He just arrives in the box. Even his goal yesterday, plays a good wee bit of play, and then has a great shot, good goal, and then there's another chance, great save for Bain.
I think he's a wee bit, and I'm not putting him in the bracket by any stretch of imagination, so it's no headline one, but it's like, he's a bit like that, the Celtic Frank Lampard, where he doesn't quite get involved in open play as such, and he kind of holds his position, but he's like, it might just be a wee give and go, but his first thought's always to hit the box, and it's no surprise that he gets his opportunities and he gets his luck, because one, obviously, he senses where the ball's going to potentially drop, or he times his runs, or he sees the
desire to score goals.
Which is why his numbers have been so good, but because he definitely brings something different to the front boys at Celtic, don't he?
There's been arguments at times you go get him off. He's been terrible. There's been times where I've thought he should come off the park.
Sometimes you get that with goal scorers, don't they?
I know.
Like
but usually they're strikers. They're no midfielders that need to be
doing
other parts of the game.
just sometimes think you get that. Sometimes these midfielders that just sniff out chances, they're sometimes know the most. You mentioned obviously Muller, didn't you, before we even started? And that's like the creme de la creme, do you know what I mean? World Cup winner, Euros winner, Champions League winner. Like, I think way over 100 caps for Germany, but like, and it probably sounds really disrespectful that you're saying he's like, he wasn't an Iniesta or a Xavi, was he? Do you know what I mean? But like, he had that like capacity to help the team, which I didn't think Negron does as much as what obviously a Muller does. Yeah. But just that sensing when to arrive in the box, when to run in the box, probably a brilliant teammate.
That's why I think Nygren, I would have him in the team ahead of Engels. I don't think Engels, if Engels was scoring goals like Nygren is, you would say, right, don't sell him.
No.
You know, but you can't really carry an Engels when he's. I prefer Nygren, although he annoys me sometimes. I think he's somebody that can score goals, and you would have him in your team. I think you need another one beside Callum McGregor that's more defensive minded, so Callum can maybe go forward a bit more, or somebody that works a bit harder for the team. I don't think Engels
You'd pay the money for Mulligan, wouldn't you?
I would potentially go for Mulligan. The only thing is because he's injured now, it puts a wee bit of slight on it. But
then you're not buying him for a month, are you?
No. I would say Mulligan. If I could sell Engels, Mulligan would be, without doing a lot of research in players, Mulligan would be the first one I would look at and think, because I think he could be,
fits that profile,
a potential like John McGinn type of. It's a big ask for him, but he could be that future player. He's got the attitude. He's Scottish. He knows what it's all about. He's going to fight with intensity. He runs with the boys powerfully. He's a good runner. I think he could play for Celtic. Put it this way: if I was going to Tynecastle tomorrow and I had Engels or Mulligan to choose for my team, Mulligan would be in my team because he would give you that fight against Magnuson, Beringame, Devlin, whoever was playing.
Hibs could be making a few quid if you were the Celtic manager.
It's the last thing they need.
So you hate Hearts and now you want to sign all the Hibs players?
No, I would sign Mulligan. I wouldn't have signed Bowie. Too early for Bowie.
Davy Martindale
gone. Well, upstairs.
What are you saying about that situation?
Well, any other manager that's not won a game for August would have been gone long before Christmas.
23 games. I didn't realise it was as.
But nobody mentions Martindale because you feel like he would need to sack his cell. I don't know what the situation is, but he feels like he's in with the bricks there. So he's finally stepped aside. Probably right decision.
Do you think that works?
I don't know. What's his job now? He used to he built the gym in there, didn't he? He genuinely built the gym.
A sporting director would pick the next manager, wouldn't he?
Do you know he built the gym?
He built the gym.
So I was in Livingston. We played them, and somebody showed me the gym or whatever. And I said, "Oh, that's nice." And so he built that, and I was like, "All right." He paid for it, but no. He had the tool belt on, and he built it. So he literally was doing everything in that stadium.
I know a guy behind the scenes that Livingston used to work in. He used to work in a sports shop, Kim, when you get your kit and that for the academy. A great guy. He used to be like part of like the commercial part, and now he's didn't actually quote me what his role is now, but he's a great lad and he's a big Livingston fan. And I remember him saying like David does cleans the kit, washes the boots, and do you know what I mean? Like he basically does 10 different jobs. He helps with the kit. He does this. He does that. So obviously resources wise, but I've always been a big advocate of him, mate. And I
like him?
But I do find it quite a bizarre scenario a wee bit, just because like Marv, he brought Marv back in as well, and now all of a sudden he's making Marv the manager. Is Davey going to be then comfortable Marv changing everything and going like, you didn't really know what you were doing, I think we can do this or we can do that, when he's then been supporting Davey? I
think he's got if he steps away and lets Marv be the manager, Marv's got to do it his way.
Aye, but that's what I'm saying. But then I think that's a hard thing to do, mate, when you're a first team coach being brought in by a manager that's still going to be part of the club, to feel as though you've got eyes on you when your first week you maybe play a player that you've been a coach trusting the manager and being an advocate for him, then all of a sudden you find a player in the team that the manager's maybe not been having, or he's maybe been in the office criticising his effort or whatever, then Marv ends up, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I just think it's a fair play to them. Listen, and I wish them all the best. I just find for outside looking in, it's a tricky scenario, I think.
I don't think there's any chance of them staying up. That's why it's a hard job.
Well, you could then say that he's the conversations behind the scenes, Marv could be preparing to can he suffer the relegation to then build a team to be good enough to get back into the Premier League if they do get relegated. But aye,
Does Marv deserve a shot at the job?
well, as ex-managers ourselves, you look at Marv's kind of journey. Do you know what I mean? Obviously done a bit of media, but I wouldn't say the obvious thing is he's ripped trees out as a manager, obviously. But I like Big Marv. I think he speaks well when he's done the media. He's obviously been brought back in by Davey. I know Neil Hastings not particularly well either, so they've obviously liked that kind of. I think Marv for a network for Davey being aligned to the players is like an astute appointment, because I think I'm presuming Davey doesn't want to be the players' the players' pal, and he'll probably be a good foil. And Marv being a bit closer to them, probably still being fit and able enough every now and again to maybe join in a wee training session or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And maybe be the eyes and ears for Davey. I think that then makes it quite difficult for Marv to then all of a sudden become the boss, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just a different voice. But then listen, Dave was first team coach at Hibs, and then he became the manager at Hibs. So it's happened before. Do you know what I mean? When you think of Kettlewells, you know what I mean? He's been at Motherwell, the 18s, in the academy, then he's been the manager. So it does happen, and I'm not against it. But I do think it can be quite a difficult dynamic.
It is, because you think the managers, the people out there that want to be managers at that level, they could step in and that would maybe want to do it. But anyway, listen, he could do a good job, and he's definitely a better manager than he was when he was at Queen of the South, because he's obviously learned his lesson. So he's better. He's obviously learned a lot. But I was surprised when I saw Davey leaving. I think he would ever leave. What about Motherwell again?
Unbelievable.
Dave, what's Motherwell's defensive record?
2 goals in what? 13, 14 games?
I think it's 13 games.
2 goals in 13 games.
2 goals conceded in 13 games and dominating the ball in possession a lot of the time.
Incredible, eh?
Brilliant. We spoke about my loads on here. The amount they can get anywhere near the top 3.
They're not a million miles behind me, to be fair, but I think they might just fall short. But I certainly wouldn't bet against them to obviously finish 4th, which I know is a bit stupid because they're already there. But I'm not so sure Hibs' form in recent times has been strong enough. That can change quickly. They could go and win 2 or 3 in the bounce like they have done in the past. It wasn't long ago that they beat Hearts and then beat Aberdeen through the week and then went to Killie. Do you know what I mean? So 9 points within 7 days. So they're certainly more than capable, but I'm not so sure the way Motherwell have played, which would be a breath of fresh air, that they would then be capable of losing 3 or 4 in the bounce. So I can see them continuing to pick up points as well. So when that gap becomes slightly bigger and Motherwell in the ascendancy, they should certainly be looking forward and know over their shoulder, that's for sure.
2 goals in 13 games.
Incredible, really, isn't it?
What's impressive about that for me is the amount of possession they have. Because we in Scotland, I've said it before, think that no conceding goals is about defending your own half and defending your box. I feel like they're having loads of possession. Maybe not as much as when Watt's in the team. He's a big miss for them. Is it Watt, isn't it?
Aye,
Elliot Watt. Aye. He's a big miss for them, but they're still having possession and no conceding chances with 2 so-called fullbacks at centre back. I think. Would you, right, I've got one for you, right? Is this manager at Motherwell schooling a lot of Scottish coaches?
Ooh. Listen, I think he's been an absolute breath of fresh air, and I love everything he does, because I've only had one opportunity of putting a team together, and albeit it's easier when you have the biggest budget, the best players to maybe play in a certain way. I would always counter argument that and saying that, like, you need to spend it wisely, you need to get the boys on side, you need to get trust. You like in the lower leagues to be able to pass the ball can be difficult, if you know what I mean, because the game can be basketball.
So here's why I'm asking you, right? I've heard coaches say in this country it's all right for Celtic and Rangers to play the way they play because they've got the budget and the better players. Now, we've seen a guy now come into Motherwell and dominate possession against Rangers, against Celtic, and every game they play in, they're dominating chances for possession majority of the time.
Maswinishi, top goal scorer in the league now.
Top goal scorer.
Right,
he's making players that were already there last year Masvinisi.
17 or 18, I've seen him.
Yeah,
so.
he's making a couple of players that were there last year, Stephen O'Donnell, Paul McGinn, playing centre-back. He's making these players better and he's not conceding goals. I just feel that, yeah, he deserves a lot of credit, this guy. And I've never seen a team outside of Celtic and Rangers have the balls to play the way they play. The way they play the short passes. I watched Hibs yesterday, for example, right? Hibs played a few short goal kicks yesterday, right?
And then the next one goes long.
And I don't know why they're doing it. Because they just play short and then they bang it long. And a couple of times Rangers won it after them and nearly broke in at the very start of the game. And I'm thinking, why are they playing short goal kicks?
Just kick it 60 yards for the goalkeeper.
Kick it 60 yards and go up the pitch. Or have a plan to play for the back. There's no plan there for me. It's just, this is what you do. We'll just play it short because it looks good and we bang it long. Motherwell have got a clear plan for me. This is how we're getting out. This is what we're doing. This is how we're rotating to create space. If this isn't on, this is on, and it's a breath of fresh air. That's why I'm saying it. I think that he deserves all the credit because it's no easy to show that bravery.
We've done wee bits on him. Well, actually, more than wee bits because he deserves all the accolades he's getting. I love the way they play. I'm a football purist, and if I could pick a team in my listen, sometimes has to be horses for courses. You can get a job and you could be in a relegation battle and it can be difficult. You could get a job halfway through a season and you maybe inherit other people's players and you have to adapt and you might need just get the best out of what you've been given, if you know what I mean. But he's brought his style, and the easiest one to kind of compare him with is like Russell Martin probably wanted to have different, but
yeah,
a passing type style with inverted fullbacks. You think of Max Aarons early on in the season. Trying to dominate that ball, trying to have the rotations in midfield to play through, to have like a Nico Raskin holding his position left 8. This guy is doing it with, you could argue, a lesser calibre player, unbelievably less budget, and I think he's been absolutely terrific.
So people speak about teams that are having loads of possession and being dead spread out, which means they're vulnerable.
They play close together.
Yeah, which means they're vulnerable in the counter-attack. The reason they're not conceding goals, and if we just look at this picture here, this is them when they're attacking.
We need to make sure that we give John a good wee shout out for.
That's right, John Walker in it.
He's the man, right? He's the man. He's obviously going to start to help us as we move forward, isn't he? For some of our analysis and some of our screen grabs. And
so if you look at that picture there, that is showing you that even though they're a possession-based team, they've got a lot of bodies forward. They're compressing the game and they're having 4 in the central area. Covering the middle of the pitch, so they're no spread out. They've always got that box of 4.
That's the biggest asset I think for them, and they didn't go anywhere.
So if it's not another midfielder, the midfielder goes and gets involved. It's the fullback, but they know that they always need to have that secure box covering the middle of the pitch.
It's probably as close as I've seen, different, but as close in certain aspects as what. When you think of the high and wide wing backs that we're seeing here, when you think of Steven Gerrard's Rangers team, James Tavernier crossing in for Borna Barisic at the back post, predominantly Borna Barisic crossing in. I used to always think of Joe Aribo when he played in the midfield 3, he would jump up a line, which would then create like your kind of 4, which would almost give you a 6. Motherwell are almost the same as that. The luxury that they've then got, that box in midfield allows your 2 6s to slide out of wide areas. I watched it at Ibrox. It's the one vulnerability I would say that an Elliot Watt, albeit he's obviously not been playing in recent weeks with his injury, when he gets caught in a wider area, his mobility, the good thing for him when he gets caught in a wider area, it happened against Gassama. The actual goal come for it when Gassama goes down the outside, crosses it across the face, goalkeeper spills it, Asgard in at the back post. It's probably, and by the way, they were brilliant at Ibrox, brilliant, and they deserve to get something out of the game, but it's probably the one bit when you think he just like the wee bit here, when he just gets caught sliding a wee bit when the ball turns over, they can be a wee bit vulnerable with somebody with blistering speed, and I'm thinking like a Martin Boyle or Gassama that might be able to expose that. But the good part is when he ends up in here, they shuffle really, really quickly, and then the rest of them, the non-negotiable bit for me, Charlie, is They all run back the pitch.
They show desire, defender goal.
They run. The wing backs run. The forward player and even Maswanishi, he's probably at times, we've seen it, and we'll show obviously the next picture. There's times where he probably plays like 25, 30 yards for his own goal.
Yeah.
Which just shows you that he's all in him.
Yeah.
He's not one of the lazy strikers that like wants to cheat out a wee bit and no help his team. He's bought into the manager's ways, and if he wants to get the reward when they dominate the ball and they create chances for him, hence the reason he's goal scoring opportunities, the bit without the ball is non-negotiable for him, which I think is brilliant.
I don't think that many Scottish coaches that I've worked under speak about that defence, that rest defence, or when you're attacking, where you're set up behind the ball. I think that's what Tony Mowbray was quite big on that. But especially the time he got to Blackburn. But I think that's the big thing for Motherwell when I look at why they're not conceding. And it's, if I look at the next picture, I mean, look how high up their centre backs are in that picture.
They squeeze it.
They squeeze it right up. And some people would say that having your centre backs that high would make you vulnerable. But actually, if you've got one, the ball's this side, you've got one going up against Falkirk and one ready to cover. You've got one up against and one ready to cover. It's more solid than being too deep.
The bit that I know that you like off the back of this though is, I go back to episode 1 or 2 when we were speaking about Liam Scales and Carter Vickers, or Liam Scales and Trusty, and having that person that's really aggressive to go and lock on, and normally the most focal point of the opposition team, but also having that safety net as the covering centre back. It might be down one side where it's like wing backs maybe covering the centre back, or it might even be one of the two boys in front, but they've always got that safety net that. And I think that comes through the leadership of guys like Paul McGinn's constantly talking. People like, that's normal. But sometimes it's no normal.
No.
I know centre-halves at the top level that are really quiet and their personalities are quite quiet. And I think you like the centre-halves that... I spent the whole Saturday night after a game, Davy Weir saying right shoulder, left shoulder, here he comes, get tight.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew my job. Yeah. But it was just a reinforcement. Here he comes. Do you know what I mean? Just in case you didn't see him.
That'd be Davy Weir protecting himself
and
make the best for the team.
But 100%.
Yeah.
So Davy would never get caught in a position where it become a leg race, 40, 50, 60 yards back to his goal. Of course he wouldn't. And I would obviously be switched on enough, hopefully, with Davy's experience and obviously marshalling me around. And obviously these boys are no mic'd up. We're not getting an insight into actually what they're saying, but when you think of guys like Stephen O'Donnell, Paul McGinn's, obviously Stephen Walsh is a big blow for them, really, do you know what I mean? But it just shows you. Talking about Hearts, having Cammy Devlin, Beningame, Lauren Shanklin, and still winning games. Motherwell have got a small squad, they've not got huge depth. No changing for his ways. Guys are coming in and doing a brilliant job.
I think they're going to have a big say in the title race.
Because they'll take points off of people.
Oh, they'll definitely take, there's no doubt about it during that split. They're going to take points off of Celtic, Rangers and Hearts. Maybe no all of them, but definitely they're going to take points in a couple of the games, you'd imagine.
Well, you wouldn't want to get them away from home, would you, in the top 6?
No, that's going to be the big thing, isn't it? Who gets who at home and who...
Their home record's brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant, really impressive. Motherwell are top class. Time for the questions, Dave.
We need to ask him a few favours and see if we can get him watch a bit of his training or something.
That would be good to see, wouldn't it?
Get him watch a bit of his training, pick his brain a wee bit.
Well, he did.
What he sees and...
He did phone us a few weeks ago.
Let's make that happen.
I messaged him and then he gives a call and he was brilliant on the phone. So maybe we can get in and see a bit of it, see how he does it, because it's all done in the training pitch clearly, and it's getting that message across.
Would you sign Maswanishi?
$3 million they're talking about from.
I see a few of these wee...
I would take him for $3 million at Celtic now. I would get him bodies in the building.
Is that not a bargain?
For me, I think it is. Martindale's obviously been to see him.
And why are Motherwell no demanding more money for him? Listen, he's having a hot streak, isn't he? To be fair, it's not as though he's been scoring 20, 25
I know, but how
goals.
much can you ask for a player that's on?
I know.
$1,000, £1,500 a week.
Well, the next part is you cannot stand in the boys' way, but for Motherwell as a club, they have to obviously protect their assets, don't they? And they like we mentioned for Hibs just a few weeks ago, getting top dollar for Bowie, and rightly so. Do you know what I mean? Digging their heels in to make sure they get what they deserve. I don't think Motherwell should be in any different position. They've gave a lot. They gave every one of these players a great platform.
If they knock £3 million back, Maswanishi goes straight in and says, He's $3,000 a week.
That's
what happens.
That's a bit that a lot of fans don't. If you value, and we were a bit like that when we were younger, when we were moving, and it was probably only got an insight because I lived it. Is that if you're valuing an asset at X, and you're saying like we want £10 million for him, then pay him like a £10 million player. And obviously, we all know that Motherwell, unfortunately, didn't have the resources to pay the type of premiums that a £10 million player would get. So you're probably bang on. And I think that, I'm not saying that fans shouldn't shout for the rafters to want to keep him, but not to leave on the cheap, but also understand that he could potentially get 8-10 times his wages somewhere else. So albeit he's contracted, he's a Motherwell player, they've given him a brilliant platform, and rightly so, they should get maximum pay. But somebody would be saying, well, I seen one pop up online, like, how's Shermitty worth 13 million and Maswanici's only, well, Shermitty was bought for £8 million and he's on a big salary, he'll be earning $1.5 million a year, if no more. Do you know what I mean? Maswanici will be earning 100 grand a year.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Motherwell, but to play for Rangers is a lot more difficult than to play for Motherwell.
Aye, but listen, I think he's been absolutely brilliant, and I think any team buying him at that kind of money will be a bargain. I just sympathetically for the Motherwell, you would hope that they can get as much as they
Celtic
possibly
might go
can.
from last minute, you never know.
Who's
Celtic are linked with a winger, aren't they?
11 o'clock tonight, is it?
11 o'clock.
no.
Dave, is it what's his name?
Let me quickly just check.
Just want to call out Dave while we've got a wee break here. He told a lie last week, said it was a world record. We should apologise. A world record for a domestic. What was it? A sending off domestically, Dave?
You're right, Dave. They get away with everything, don't they?
A run of 87 games. It was actually just
a run of 87 games.
Scottish record.
Is not a world record, just to be clear. Apparently, don't trust a word Dave says now, but apparently it's a domestic record, but it's definitely not a world record, just to be clear.
And
Cheers for that, Dave.
The new signing
no,
should have got
sent.
The new signing should have got sent off against Dundee United as well, shouldn't he?
No.
Aye. Straight red if ever I've seen one.
Well, if you're saying that's a red, well, if you're saying Dundee United is not a red.
Well, you're not telling me, please, you cannot tell me that the Dundee United tackle in the Hearts game was a worse tackle than the tackle that the new signing done against Dundee United at Celtic Park.
No, but the two of them weren't sending offs.
Alright, so you're saying them both no sending off.
Alright. Sending off.
That's a cop out. That's a cop out. If I was Dundee United, I would appeal the first one, but I didn't think they'll get away with it. But if I was Dundee United, listen,
it was fucking 6 games ago.
Celtic were 2-0 up, weren't they? I think at the time when the tackle happened. So, but then it goes back to that 2-0 up, down to 10 men. Do you know what I mean? Like, no playing their brilliant best. You just never know how the game could transpire. But I think Dundee United have to feel aggrieved with that one when you look at different ones. But sorry, Dave, you were 87 games, but no a world record.
Just for keeping my head, by the way, what about Kilmarnock? Would never have said that. 3-0.
4 finished, did it? 4
did it finish?
4.
4-1,
Dave's fell asleep.
4. Huge for Neil McCann and Kelly. By the way, another big club, isn't they?
Yeah.
When you think I think of Kelly like Steve Clark, finishing third.
Yeah.
I still remember asking him on my pro license, like what were the main things you change when you take a team that was predominantly finishing like 9th and 10th and 11th, like kind of floating above the relegation, the kind of playoffs. I think Boydie scoring at Easter Road, which put Hibs into the playoffs, which ended up resulting in getting relegated off of Hamilton when I was the tail end of my career. And you think of the job that Steve Clark done in there. Just I cannot think for the love of me what the boys called in the middle of the pitch, who was absolutely terrific for them. Did they end up going to Celtic? Oh, he was brilliant, mate. So strong, powerful.
Did go to Celtic.
And then you have like the
the
lads that I'm brilliant. My memory's brilliant as well. And then you have boys like Jordan Jones. Do you know what I mean? Come at the forefront. I think Jordan Jones giving like a James Tavernier a hard time. You know what I mean? That Kelly team, like they
played really defensive and they just got it in the break, didn't they?
They were brilliant, mate.
Chris Buck as well.
They were brilliant. But Malumba played down the road, didn't he?
West Brom, he was at.
Aye. He was strong as an ox, mate. Brilliant football player, but you then find yourself in the position that they're in, which has probably been hovering for the last few years, isn't it? When you there must be a bit
him up. Who would need to go? St Mirren are struggling, aren't they? Got 0-0 at the weekend.
Listen, they're both fighters, obviously. Stephen Robinson, and he's got plenty of credit in the bank, obviously, but he'll be certainly looking over his shoulder. And then Dundee, obviously beat Ibrox, another point. Like, you could throw the kind of. I think Livingston are, unfortunately,
You're gone.
I cannot see them. I cannot see them getting there. But listen, you never know.
There's a
know,
video
but-
of me somewhere asking at the very start of the season before a ball was kicked, who's going down?
You
Said
said
Livy.
Livingston.
I just felt the players weren't there.
But I think the three of them, won't they? I think will fight out the playoff. St Mirren, Dundee, and Kelly. It'll be one of the three, I think. So I wouldn't rule any of the three of them out, but I wouldn't bet against any of the three of them going on a wee run and getting themselves further up the table.
What, Livy as well?
No Livy. No, Kelly, Dundee or St Mirren. I think will be the. Listen, Aberdeen are not a million miles away from it either. I
You need to
think
get a manager in.
I think Falkirk are a stick.
Who would you take as a Aberdeen manager?
We had Scotty on a few weeks ago, didn't we? And he's a big result for them against Rafe at the weekend, Championship. Back into the playoffs. Obviously played up there, didn't he, at the tail end of his career. I don't know.
Got the personality for it, ain't
They've been a wee bit no left field, but they've obviously got the American link, ain't they? Aberdeen, with Dave Cormack.
Why are they not going for the Motherwell manager?
Maybe they are, mate. Maybe they'll go for him at the end of the season. I think
you
there's
could wait
one for
that
you.
long.
It's funny because his style, you wouldn't have thought would, like, traditionally you wouldn't have thought Motherwell would play the way they're playing now. I think all the fans would say that, wouldn't they? It's probably the best football they've ever seen for as long as I can remember. Aberdeen wouldn't be another club that you would naturally think that, like, play fast, free flowing football. I've always thought of, like, Aberdeen being like quite a direct team and really aggressive without the ball and put you under a lot of pressure, like good in both boxes.
Like, I imagine that Pittodrie crowd if you played a short goal kick with your keeper out of the...
They're a huge club, aren't they?
Yeah.
So obviously you've been up there. So there's a big expectation up there, obviously. So you wonder, with his style, I think it would be mouthwatering because obviously he would have a bigger budget, he would have bigger resources. They've obviously got the training centre. I suppose you wouldn't be against it, but
He would have a better player as well because he'd be paying more wages.
you could argue everything's. Listen, I think Motherwell, unfortunately, because of how brilliant he's been and how brilliant the team have been, the accolades that they're getting, unfortunately, whether it be their players, Maswanishi, Elliot Watts, Just, Saeed, like, you could throw quite a lot of them in there that are starting to attract a bit of attention, and then obviously the manager ultimately himself. So
I don't think he would go to Aberdeen, the manager, but I think they should try and get him. If I was Aberdeen, I would be trying to get him. I'd be throwing everything at him.
I think he's the type of manager that, listen, and I'm not saying for 1 second, because obviously I want Dave to be brilliant at Hibs, and it was a good point for them at the weekend. Hopefully they can push up the league and start putting a bit of pressure on Motherwell for that 4th spot. But if a Dave was to leave at the end of the season off his success, hopefully, and maybe pastures new were to excite him, then I wouldn't be against him and his style working at Easter Road.
Interesting. Right, Dave, we on to the questions. Questions for the viewers. Let's hear them.
You asked a question about Celtic's transfers. It looks as if they're signing a guy who can play across the front three, Junior Adamu from Freiburg, on loan with an option, and they're also in the market for another winger. So one of our first questions is, what do you think of Celtic's transfer business, and do you think they are missing a physical midfielder to supplement and help McGregor?
I've already said that.
That's an easy one for you, isn't it?
Aye, I've already said that. I think they need somebody in beside McGregor that's going to fight with him.
They've not had that. Callum's obviously can do that, but they've not had that since Scotty, really.
Yeah, they need
They've
a
not
Scott
had
Brown,
that.
need a Wanyama, they need
Wanyama,
somebody
yeah.
like that to go in and fight. Cal McGregor, it's not his natural game, but he can fight alongside.
Even when you go back to like when I played, you've got like even Paul Hartley kind of reinvented himself as that kind of CDM that would obviously put his foot in. Barry Robson, do you know what I mean? Like really powerful and aggressive with the ball. Like they've probably no had that. And then
That's why I think Mulligan would be good.
Aye, the foil of that's like guys like Nakamura, who was obviously a baller, and do you know what I mean? And I think he like that good Celtic team that played against you. Well, second kind of stint when I got to Rangers, obviously minus the Hibs with the Martin O'Neill, big team obviously. But you had like your McGeady's, your Maloney's, but like the guys that we've just mentioned there they complement the type of guys. Do you know what I mean?
I think if they brought, in my opinion, a centre back for a few quid, a midfielder that we've just mentioned, another striker, and a winger,
They're not doing that today, though, are they?
I know, they're no right. That's a top window for me. That's been a really good window for me.
Martin O'Neill did that. Am I right in saying Martin O'Neill did say that there's boys... Didn't he say medicals, did he? But there's boys that he's hopeful to get the news.
I think he'll be a couple of signings. I think
that.
The boy you've just mentioned and one more maybe. They're looking for a left-footed right winger. Whether that boy fits that bill or no, I don't think so, Dave. I think maybe he seems like somebody that's jack of all trades type of player, doesn't he? No,
Adamu, yeah, it seems that way. He can play across the front.
So he may be a backup striker that can play wing, similar to Maeda.
And then they've had injury problems as well. I don't know how far any of them are away from like getting back. When you think
Carter Vickers will not be back, I don't think.
No be back, no.
I don't think so. They've got
Any
Actual coming back as well, of course.
He's
on the weekend.
Aye, he's one. Obviously, I thought Carter Vickers might just bring them a wee.
He would be
a proper lift in it,
but
I didn't realise how long he was going to be out for. And actually, I didn't realise he was obviously back, but coming on and getting some minutes, that provides more competition for them in the final. Plus options, it's a variety. I think when you're at Celtic, when you think of real good Celtic and Rangers teams, you're 2-0 down with 30 minutes to go, and then all of a sudden, like the 3 subs come on, and you're like, oh. Whereas they've probably not quite had that impact or that player to like really.
So you're asking about the window, Dave, right? Have they had a good window? Vinchara, good signing.
Looks a handful, doesn't he?
Yeah, looks a handful. Looks alright. The right back looks decent as well.
Apart from they should have had a red card and a 2-match suspension.
Nah, no chance. I think there'll be a good window. A good window would be 3 more signings in. Don't know if that will happen.
I cannot see 3, but I would be. I kind of echo what you said. I would be surprised if there's no at least.
I think there'll be 2.
2 in the door come 11 o'clock tonight.
So if that's the case, then it's been an okay window. No great for me. Okay.
And what's the latest with Stephen Welsh?
He'll be. Well, he could go back, couldn't he, Motherwell?
Will I go back though?
He's
not got loads and loads of cover at centre back either. If Carter Vickers is,
I know. I don't know, but then there's Dane Murray in there. Why are you bringing Welsh back and then Dane Murray's playing into?
I know.
I'm not sure what they'll do with him. Motherwell will be desperate for him back though, won't they?
Aye, he's brilliant for them, wasn't he?
Next question,
one,
Dave.
Good question.
Next question is from Scott on YouTube. So, was there a player you guys played with that was amazing in training but never showed it in games, or vice versa? Great in a match day but was rubbish in training?
The first one comes to mind for me was no good trainer, hated training, was Barry Robson. I don't know if you play with Rob or not. You would have missed him, eh?
Trained with him I played with Dundee United.
At Dundee United.
Dundee United
when I was at Middlesbrough, I don't know if I just caught him because he was a bit older, but he used to always, we'd obviously play one touch or whatever and have like juggling the ball or that, and he'd come on and he'd want to get involved, and as soon as he got involved he would just boot the ball away. And he was, but see when it come to the actual game day, obviously you get a bit older, you look after your body, but he would be one for me, Dave, that probably not a brilliant trainer, but an unbelievable competitor when it come to game days, and he was, the Middlesbrough fans loved him. Championship just suited him to a T, like strong, powerful. I used to hate playing against him actually when I played, because he used to always get burst lip every time I played against him, because I liked the competitive bit as well.
Farmer, wasn't he?
He was an animal, like with his elbows.
Big farmer.
He probably would get sent off every week nowadays, but I still remember he should have actually got sent off. I still remember his header, his forearm smash Christian Daly in an Old Firm game. And I was like in the stand, like I was desperate to play. I was suspended for the 2 of them. Celtic actually ended up winning the league that year. I missed the 2 games. I actually sat in a box with Scotty to watch. I think it was the first one. Didn't quote me in the game, but I think Hesselink scored a late winner in one of them.
A knockdown for McDonald.
Aye, back across the box. I can just remember Kirk Broadfoot being at the back post, and Big Jan obviously getting in for a header. I'm sure it finished 3-2 that night. And then I think the other game was Nakamura hit one for like 30-35 yards that scored into Griggsy, and it had to have been a good one to score into Griggsy for that distance, but I ended up missing both the games. But I remember, obviously, because that was something I liked doing, obviously, like trying to get a foothold in the game. But Robbo would be the one that comes to mind. What about you?
For me, Samaras didn't lift a leg in training. Honestly, never used to tie his boots. It would do my head in. See, the thing about it is, so obviously he was an older player, and he would meant to be leading by example. And Tony Watt started training with his boots untied, and I was like, why are you not tying your boots and why are you walking about? He says, Big Sammy does it. I get my fitness for the games. I was like, Tony, you're not playing any games. Big Sammy, he used to do my heading and that.
Tony have his grip socks on?
I don't know. Nah,
Wouldn't have had them back in the day, would
it?
Came a wee plug for the grip socks that he keeps on selling.
So Sammy for me trained like a bag of shite, and he could play also like that, but he could also be a world beater at times. I've seen Sammy flick it on for his cell and go and catch it, and I've also seen him within 2 minutes a game. You could tell if Samaras was going to turn up or not or be there, and he was worse than a man. Honestly, worse than a man doing when he was.
He was a good player.
He was at it, but when he was at it, he was like fucking Ibrahimovic. So Sammy, I wouldn't want him anywhere near your possession team in training or anywhere near your five-a-side team. Nowhere near it. Would have been last pick for me, but turned up my match day.
See, I never obviously got to play with him. But
sometimes
I got to obviously watch training at times when I was B team, and obviously when Stephen was a manager, I got kind of like an open door. Really, I never used to go round loads because it was always one of the ones you would rather get asked round than just go round. Or that's the type of person I was. So whenever we got the opportunity, listen, lads, you can come round and watch. But Alfredo for me, and I'm Alfredo's biggest fan. I thought he was top, strong.
I'm not.
I
loved playing against him.
You loved playing against
Alfredo?
Alfredo?
Playing against him.
He was the type that, like, when I think he like being in the academy and talking about standards and talking about like how a Barry Ferguson would train and what a Walter Smith would expect of you, and like your Coistes, your aunties, like the luck that I had to be surrounded with these people that created an edge in training, which I'm sure you had yourself on the other side of the city. Like Alfredo would be the one that, like, when like you do the wee technical drills, it's like it comes off his shin when he's volleying it back and then catches it. But yet you then see him how he played on a Saturday, obviously, or like through the week, especially like his European record for Rangers and just how aggressive he was. I think he like him playing when he was like some of the big European games, like on the road to Seville. You think he Leipzig, Dortmund, like international defenders, like they're jumping on his back, and he was so powerful and so robust. But
that's why I find it mental that I can only say from my experience. So there's players that you've.
Is that because you played in a back three against them?
No, I played in the back. I played up against them in the back too.
Back two.
I had a back four. There's players that I couldn't even name now, right? That couldn't get a game for Rangers in the lower leagues in England. That ragdolled me, and I would say were really hard to play against. And Morelos, when I come up here, I thought was really easy to play against. I thought that as long as you never get involved with him, he wanted to fight and argue with you, and if you never get involved with him, I felt like never pressed you well, never. I don't know. I just felt like maybe it's just the games I played, but I felt that.
I always felt when I watched them live, and I watched them live a lot because I done every game for Rangers TV 55, and obviously a lot of the European games, whether it be for obviously different broadcasters or whatever. And I just always thought that like centre halves naively used to underestimate just how powerful he was.
See, I would never
that's
fight
maybe
him.
like a good kudos for you that like because he was as strong as
I used to give my yard.
That's probably the way to play. I think a wee bit like that with John McGinn. Like I played obviously against John when I was tail end of my career. He was at St Mirren, so powerful, so robust, brilliant with his bum. But like actually he wanted that contact, and obviously if you got wrong side him and he got his bum into you, you were done.
You're not getting ruined.
You're not getting ruined, mate. He's so powerful and brilliant at it, but actually maybe playing loose with him and maybe trying to
something in the country trying to get an arse like that now, isn't they?
His thighs, mate. He just become an animal, obviously, when doing it. But it's funny how you do have the players, and I'm not saying that meant me and you were so clever that we didn't end up getting involved in contact. But
because these players like Taddy that played with Wraith Rovers and went on to play with St Johnson, he ragdolled me a couple of times, and he could never get a game for Rangers. So it's weird how some players, I would be like, I'd see Morelos' name in the team sheet, and I think buzzing. Another thing I was going to say, somebody who was good in training, better in training than he was in games sometimes. I fell into that bracket a few times. I felt like sometimes I had to train 100% and give them all to then take it into games. But sometimes I think I even trained better than I played a lot of time. But people would need to sort of confirm that it's hard to say about yourself, but I felt that was the case.
Steve Davis is the best trainer I've ever seen.
Is he ability wise or just working hard?
Everything. That wouldn't matter. Like if we played like 6v6 in this room, he wouldn't give the ball away. Yeah. And I'm not joking. Even if it was half a touch, never mind one touch. Like just awareness and like just an absolute Rolls Royce. A poor touch wood for him. Well, it doesn't matter now because obviously he hurt his knee at the tail end of his year, didn't he? Which was a real killer blow for him, because I think he would have kept on playing on. I think Rangers would have kept on giving him 1 year contracts just to keep him around the place. But when he hurt his knee, it was a real sad way for him to finish. But see, like, listen, your Mendez's, your Ferguson's and that were brilliant. But I'd even mean like an attitude, because like a Kurt Broadfoot's attitude was brilliant. These guys like Christian Daly's, like a lot of guys that I played with, Davy Weir's, were brilliant trainers, and it's why they had the careers that they had. I would say like we had a group that were good trainers. I'd like to put myself in that bracket as well. But Davo just like, it didn't matter what the drill was, whether it be 3v3s, whether it be possession, whether it be boxes, whether it was just.
I remember.
Never give the ball away, mate.
I remember my first memory of it, I was watching a Rangers game. I was doing South at the time, I'm sure. What year would they have signed for, Rangers?
So he signed just after I signed. So he come on loan initially for Fulham, and then the following season he then signed. So just after,
2000.
so he was on loan UEFA Cup final season. Then he quote me. I think he then went.
So
back
when he was
in the
on,
summer.
what year would that have been? 2008.
2008. Aye.
So that I'd left to. I'd just signed for. I can't remember. Anyway, I remember sitting somewhere, have no known Rangers had signed him, and you were playing at Tynecastle, and I remember going, "Who is that?" I thought, he's a top. Who is that? And it was Steve Davis.
I don't even know if he can remember, but I was at Coventry obviously as a kid. I don't even know if I mentioned this to him. We got on really well, like good mates when we played. Loved him to bits. Top boy, real character when it comes to having a pint. For a quiet lad. But he was at Villa when I went to Coventry when I was a kid, and he obviously was a huge talking player there. Broke in early, midfield partner to Gareth Barry, who ended up obviously going on and having a brilliant career. But it's mad when you think I come across him obviously when I was a kid, and obviously Coventry and Villa were a wee bit of rivalry. Albeit Coventry probably
Midlands,
Birmingham,
aye.
do you know what I mean? Midlands obviously. And I just remember people saying, "Oh, like the wee red-haired lad in the middle of the pitch is like, what they like." And I was more a wide player, so I never actually come across him. I was more like a wide lefty that was quite tricky and kind of like drop my shoulder and going outside and kind of delivery when I was younger. And probably more a left midfielder, stroke left winger. And obviously then when I ended up both at Ibrox, Steve obviously played, and we only actually had a few games where we played centre mid together. And I wish we'd had, well, touch wood for me, I wish I'd had a bit better luck. And potentially spent a bit more time in the middle of the pitch with him, because he was. When you think of trainers, mate, like if you could have a pass completion and like being a standout in training every day, it would be him. Like.
Nice, good question.
He signed 18 years ago today.
Mad.
That was it.
Next
Aye, 'cause
question, Dave.
I would have been 19, Davey. I signed 2007.
Aye.
Good question.
Good question, that.
Next question is from Dave Chalmers on YouTube, and he's saying it's a question for you, Charlie. So, Tom, a few weeks ago you were talking about players being useful in different areas of the pitch, and you gave Ian Murray as an example. But Dave's question for you, Charlie, is he had a great career in multiple positions and with multiple clubs. Where did you think you thrived the most? Where was your best position?
Is he asking my favourite position?
Where do you think you thrived the most? And was there any managers that weren't having you in certain positions?
My favourite position, exclusive here right now, doggy style.
Yes.
Do we need to cut that?
You need to cut it, mate. Alana will divorce you. It's cost you too much money, that, mate.
So I was a funny one, right? I started my career as a left winger, moved to left back, but was a wee bit exposed out of left back. It was back in the day when wingers took you on, so I felt more comfortable in centre back or centre midfield in the centre of the pitch. My awareness on the half turn wasn't brilliant in centre mid, so I liked facing the play. So I think I played my best stuff at left centre back. I had a few good games at midfield with Scotland, with Brunei. We kind of worked well together. It just depends. Like, see, I was one of them where if I had a good game somewhere, I was like, that's my position. Mm-hmm. And then if I had a bad game, I'd be like, I think I prefer centre back, or I think I prefer midfield. I think that either centre back or centre midfield, depending on what the game was. It's Celtic, it's centre back at Celtic Park. Sometimes you would not have a lot to do. You just be lending the ball. Whereas at centre mid, you can go and try and score and get involved a bit more. But the player of the year season, I played a lot of positions, but probably more so left centre back. I was best at. I felt I could play for the back. I felt comfortable. I was really good at reading the game because I'd played further up the pitch. I could almost see what was coming next. I had to see what was coming next because I never had the pace to get me out of it. I had to read the game. Johan, I done a Q&A with Johan all day, and he talked about how slow I was. I don't remember being that slow.
He said that you were that slow.
Aye. On the stage, he's like painfully slow. I was like, fucking hell, Johan.
Aye, cheers.
Aye. I mean, I wasn't rapid, but I could move. Aye, that's my answer, Dave. Does that cover it? What else did they ask there?
They said, like, was there any managers that just weren't having you in a certain position?
Yeah, Tony Mowbray didn't have me anywhere near centre mid or anywhere else. Tony Mowbray was convinced at Blackburn I was a centre back, an out and out centre back. Neil Lennon played me left wing in the Champions League and played me left wing at Ibrox because of my running ability and
Tell Big Mel about that.
Running ability, no speed, endurance. Done 14.5k against Barcelona.
Brilliant.
Messi done 6.
Scored a hat-trick.
Aye, so no, that was the night we beat them. Tony Mowbray was it next one?
Good question.
Next one. So Lewis on Instagram, this was from last week. We didn't answer this one, but it's a really good question. So Steve Clark was spotted at the Celtic and Hearts game. Do you think Halkett and Finlay would be good enough to be considered for a call-up, considering their performances this season?
I'm sure we spoke about that.
I think we did cover that a wee bit, but I think they could, Dave, to be fair. I don't know if Steve Clark was just there watching the game in general because he's a national manager, it was a big game. But Grant Hanley's obviously went off injured just yesterday, obviously, at Easter Road.
Who's better, Halkett or Hanley?
I think they're actually both quite similar. Grant Hanley's obviously had a better career, hasn't he? But listen, I think Grant Hanley, if he's fit's already on the plane, I think it's Halkett's job to try and get on the plane. But touch wood.
Who's the centre backs? Suter, Hanley, they're on the plane, aren't they? Then you've got Jack Henry.
Aye. Even like Ryan Porteous is a wee kind of left field ball. He's not been involved as much as probably would have liked. Obviously over in America playing.
Porteous, McKenna.
McKenna's a stick on. It's hard, isn't it? Because like Halkett and Finlay are...
And there's no lefts. McKenna's on the left side.
Obviously, if he went to a 3, Kieran Tierney can easily play in the left of the 3, can't he? But listen, you hope everybody's fit.
I think one of them will get in, and I would guess it would be Halkett.
What would they normally take? I'm just trying to, without having it in front of us, what they'd normally take, like a 26-man squad, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And then you have like a kind of a bank of players off the back of that, don't you? I don't know if you...
Yeah, 20,
I think it used to get cut to like
something.
23, but I don't know if that's... I think they allow you to have more now, especially like with the heat and how long seasons I've had, just for the player welfare, really, I think. But didn't quote me on that.
Who's your 2 starting centre-backs right now?
You would normally take... Just try to do the maths. You would normally take, obviously, 3 goalkeepers. You'd probably take 7 defenders, stroke 8.
Yeah.
Potentially 3 or 4 centre backs, stroke 4 full. I think 7 or 8, really. Do you know what I mean? So when you start to do the maths,
who's your 2 Scottish centre backs right now? Forget about Steve Clark. Who will you have?
I think. Well, I think who'll play will be potentially. Obviously got big suits. I forgot about Big Suter.
Suter's playing.
Suter plays. I think Suter probably plays with McKenna, and he's 2.
Does he?
I don't know. I'm just spinning a few plates, like. But then Grant Hanley's like. I'm right in saying John Suter got injured in one of the games.
Warm up.
In the warm up, and Grant Hanley played.
Hanley played.
Am I right in saying that was the Denmark game?
That was the Denmark game.
Aye. And then come in and done brilliant.
That's right. So it was meant to be Suter, and who was other centre back that night?
For me, Grant Hanley's like Mr. Reliable, mate. That's what he says on the tin. He's like, in Scotland, probably, if they have aspirations of getting through the knockout stages against potentially...
Halkett's better in possession than Hanley, though, isn't he?
No, I wouldn't recognise either of the two of them being like balling centre backs. Really, I think both of them are. That's why I think they're both quite comparable in the respect that they're. Hanley, I would say, is slightly more dominant in the air than Halkett. Because
I'm saying Halkett's a better football player in possession, but I don't know if I'd say he's better on the ball. I think Hanley's.
Halkett's probably is better than Hanley and Finlay on the ball, but
Aye.
I'm not so sure significantly that you're taking him because he's better on the ball.
Aye.
I think when you're just comparing the three of them as defenders, I think Grant Hanley maybe just has an edge over the two of them. But I think
Are you taking Finlay though?
That's what I'm saying. I think Hanley's in anyway, but I think it would be if I was tossing a coin between Finlay and Halkett, I would take Halkett.
I think Steve Clarke will feel the pressure if Hearts win the league.
Aye.
Stuart Finlay will be hopefully get a chance, but I don't think he'll go.
I don't know if this question is going to come up, but a curveball. So we've probably answered it before. The thing was, who would you played with the lad? You say that Fulham, didn't you? He's an enigma for.
Oh, Tom Kearney.
He's one. That
So somebody's asked into Dave about Tom Kearney.
And then you've got obviously Barnes at Newcastle.
So I played with Tom Kearney at.
You've got Callum McGregor that has left the door open. It's intriguing, isn't it?
Tom Kearney, if Scotland don't plan to have possession, I don't think you can take Tom Kearney because
Playing in the Premier League.
Tom Kearney's a top player, but he's a luxury player, and that's why he's never playing for Scotland, because Scotland don't dominate the ball. And Tom Kearney's somebody that offers very little out of possession. There's my honest opinion.
Interesting.
He offers very little, so he's a luxury player that it depends what Steve Clarke sees as. Does his ability to create outweigh what he gives you off the ball? And I would say that Steve Clarke would lean towards somebody like a Lewis Ferguson or somebody that's going to be more gritty off the ball.
Probably the strongest area of the squad in it. When you hopefully John will be obviously fit. Obviously just had his operation, and so I don't know where that lies. But when you think of McTominay, and I think he will be, and rightly so, he'll be faithful to Kenny McLean, etc., etc. So it'll be interesting to see if does Callum McGregor go. Do they make the call to Barnes at Newcastle?
He's got to get the call. The other wingers. Doak.
Ben Doak, is he?
Well, you'd imagine he'll be fight to get fit, but then you've only got Doak then and Barnes.
I know, and obviously suffering a wee bit playing on the counter attack. It'll be. There'll be unfortunately it's elite sport, and there'll be people that'll be disappointed, but what an amazing opportunity if you get on that plane.
That'll be good.
One last question today.
Go on.
So if you both had the chance to get back into football, would you be happy going in as a coach rather than a manager, similar to what Maloney and Fozzie has done?
Right, so I would like to be, if ever I get back in, which I don't know if that's something that's going to suit me or no, I don't know. I would like to be international. International, but you're the guy who goes between the players and the manager, and you try and get the players' message from the manager to the players, and you try and take stuff back to the manager that they can help without
Like a
grassing
buffer between
MD in, a buffer between the two, so you're not going back and going, John McGinn said that your training was shite. You're going back and saying, listen, the lads think they could be doing with a bit more of this. You don't name names. I would like that role, potentially, but few and far between them.
No,
what about you?
I like that. I'm kind of open-minded, I think, but I think without being big-headed, I wouldn't want to go and like be somebody's assistant at League Two when I've already been the manager, obviously. But I wouldn't then be against. Obviously, there's been different times where I've interviewed for Pedro Caixinha when he was the Rangers manager to be part of his staff as a coach. So I think saying, like, too big for your boots, that it would need to be a big club or a big role, if you know what I mean. Because I've got obviously my own academy that I'm passionate about. I think something that would be a real enthusiastic one for me would be like a head of the academy somewhere. Like implementing maybe like what I believe in and having maybe a bigger input on actually how things work.
What do you believe in?
Oh, we've probably not got enough time, Charlie, to go over. I think it's something that we should indulge into. Obviously, I'm a technical type coach, you know what I mean, hence my academy, do you know what I mean? But I'm also a real driver when it comes to standards, and I think at times, especially in the big academies, sometimes talent can get quite far up the ladder without actually having too much standard, because their talent gets them there, and then I think a lot fail at the big clubs to get over the line because it's the one part that a head of academy or a 18s coach cannot dictate, playing you up, playing you down, giving you extra provision, because once it gets to first team level, the manager dictates. I think a lot of young players, or from my experience being at Rangers, it's the one step that someone might manipulate, that you decide that I'm going to go and train with the first team, but the manager wants Dave.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So whereas in the academy director can maybe pick that you get to play for the reserves and I maybe didn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's well, that's just a wee kind of insight into what I would say is I think a lot of the talented boys get quite far up the ladder without maybe having the right standards and determination installed in them, and kind of the right beliefs really, and how difficult it is to go and have that type of career. That might be different at different clubs, you know what I mean, because it's maybe easier to break in at different places, but something that I would like to implement some sort of standard within an academy that would be a wee bit of a, how do you say it in the right terminology without sounding old school, like a slightly tougher environment, a wee bit more rigid, a wee bit more no cutthroat, 'cause I think it's the wrong terminology for the kids, but a wee bit more robustness for them, so that they do quite appreciate how difficult it actually is to have the big career like Charlie Mulgrew, to have the big careers, you know what I mean? Like I think a lot just expect it at times, and I think they miss out on a lot of the valuable lessons of, we come for nothing, my crew, do you know what I mean? Like, no much provision when it comes to money, no much provision when it comes to training resource, so everything we had to fight for. Whereas I think, especially at the big clubs, the resources, and I've been at the training centre at Rangers, worked in there, and sometimes the provision, rightly so, can be amazing, but there has to be that element of like
how do you create that though? How
you work for it. I think you can be cute and clever. I think you can. I was an advocate at times when I was at the training centre, like if maybe the young players were moaning about getting water put on the pitches, I would be like, let's take them round to the local rugby pitches and train there and get them to get the goals out and set the pitch up and get them doing jobs, sweeping the bits and bobs, and like society's like as if like you're not allowed to do that nowadays. Like
entitlement,
a wee bit, yeah, aye, a wee bit. And I think it can be a scary monster for parents as well. Sometimes maybe thinking that their 12, 13-year-old's a superstar, and rightly so. You should go on that journey with them. It's an emotional roller coaster. It's like loads of ups and downs. But I also think like a wee bit more realistic expectation at times can be driven by powers to be. And I think when you end up a young player with entitlement, and parents have entitlement, then it can be a scary monster.
So you'd be head of academy, would you go gaffer again somewhere if you were offered?
I don't know, mate. That's when it's hard, because you feel as though like I go back to Celtic last week to do the telly, obviously for BBC Alba, and you're speaking to Tam, you're speaking to Tids, and they're like, oh, like gaffer, when you getting back in, and like the fact they still call you gaffer.
Would you take that job?
Well, the Celtic job?
No, sorry,
No.
Would you take in that League One level?
No, but there's nothing to say that like I didn't want to speak about a specific club because you feel as though then you want that manager's job, but there's nothing to say that I wouldn't be if a club had aspirations, a bit like what Celtic were like when I first took that plunge, aspirations of maybe getting up the leagues and putting a good budget.
They've just had a takeover, haven't they?
Aye, the Americans, I think, I'm sure it is, guys that were involved in different clubs. I think they were involved in a club over in Ireland, one down south. So something that would excite me, that would be a club that had one eye on youth development and giving young players opportunity, and maybe not quite being as hell bent on you need to win the league and you need to do this, you need to do that. I know results are what is driven by the game. I'm not naive, but when I was at Celtic, we had obviously the young players on loan. I told the senior players when I first went there that for me to get out of bed in the morning and they give me that enthusiasm to be the manager of this club, I need to have young players, I need to see them develop. They give me a spring in my step. It's something that I'm passionate about. So obviously Conor Barron, Kieran Gwenya, Match Kucheravi when we're a wee bit later, Harrison Clark, Danny Finlayson, obviously on loan for St Mirren. Like all these players played in our team. You know, not a young Alfredo Aggie man, do you know what I mean? Even though he was 21, 22 at the time, but it's something that I was really passionate about and I enjoyed. It gave me a wee buzz. Geordie's obviously the same. It's something that we were kind of all in with the young players. Didn't mean we neglected the senior players by any stretch of imagination, because they were at the forefront of everything good that we done. When you think of Joe Cardles, your Tidses and that, but it gave me that excitement. I buzzed off it, and you never say never, mate, do you? You're always open for opportunities. But as we live in a country that there only is 42 teams in the leagues, it's not as though there's a million opportunities. So we bash on, don't we?
Nice, mate.
There's been a wee bit of breaking news since we've been on. Rangers are signing Nadiri from the German team. He's on his way to Manchester for a medical. So the
Striker?
He's a striker. They've upped their offer significantly, apparently, so it's just breaking news.
Interesting.
So the Rangers signed a striker. They did.
Firepower in the front line.
They need it, don't they? Aye.
I
still
did
think they need a 10 to create from, because I don't... Or maybe he can sniff chances out for himself, but they need a bit of desire to score goals and create in that final third. Nadiri could be the man for it.
Interesting. I did think that I thought they might have put the money in for Bowie. I thought they were looking at a number 9. That was and that's no knocking Sherman.
What's his goal record like, Dave?
So this season he's played 18 games, he's got 8 goals and 5 assists.
Crap.
Nah. I knew you'd say that.
Nah. Well, listen, I think he could add to the Rangers team because they've not getting much up there, in my opinion.
£13 million striker, mate.
That was lies. Nobody bid that for him. Don't believe I would.
That's serious accusations. Right?
Aye.
You'll have the Americans on the phone, mate.
You'll have the... Aye, somebody's made that up.
So it's not going to be Hearts fans this week that are giving you stick, it's going to be Rangers fans.
Rangers fans, no, that's not true either. They would bite their hand off for 13 million for Chimiti. Thanks again for listening to the breakdown. Keep your questions coming. Another good few questions this week. Me and Tom will enjoy answering them, passing on our experience. So have a wee like and subscribe, and get your questions in for next week.